Okay, I think y'all can hear me. I hope y'all can hear me. It is a car over here with a very loud engine on it. I think it's like a truck hawk or some type of Jeep car. But anyways, hello y'all. Hey, how y'all doing? It has been a minute. It's been a minute since I have recorded content. Yeah, so much has happened, y'all. So much has been going on. So much has been happening during this break away. And also, like, I dropped another video. I dropped another song with a feature artist on it, and it's so crazy because this is his first song. This is my second song, and yeah, we making music, like we out here. I don't know if y'all saw on the video that my artist name is Fola Sade, and I have like a whole story about that, which I will talk about. But yes, the song is called Pamper Me, and it is Fola Sade, myself, featuring Oba. And yeah, people are loving it. So I love the support that y'all are giving on the song. Please continue to listen, stream, go to YouTube, watch the whole full video. And yes, play it, share it. Like, it is a Pamper Me summer, okay? It's a Pamper Me year. It's just a Pamper Me lifestyle, okay? If you not pampering me, I don't know what to tell you. It's not happening. It's not a thing. So yes, this song is for the girls that love to be pampered, and for the men that like to pamper. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why y'all love it. That's why y'all love it. That's why we love it. It's a vibe. Like, I remember when we was recording it, it reminded me a lot of like Essence with Wizkid and Tim's. Like, that was the vibe that I was going for with the song. And I remember, like, I found the beat. So like, I tagged the producer on the first video, so make sure that y'all go and look at the collaborators, and he is one of them. So Elisha is the producer, and I heard the beat. Like, he had like a basically like a beat pack basically, and I heard it, but it didn't have the saxophone on there. So I was like, man, I want to put the saxophone on there. And so then we found a saxophone. I found one that I liked, and he put it on top, and the beat was just magic from there. So that's why when you hear it, it's kind of like a vibe, and then the song comes in and it's just like, pamper me. I love it when you pamper me. There's people out here watching me do my content, y'all, so they've been messing with me, but they good people. Anyway, so yes, pamper me. I love it when you pamper me. So it's just a vibe. Like, it's like really like just a mixy vibe. And yeah, so make sure y'all continue to stream, watch the videos, share the content about it, and make sure we get it out there, y'all. Like, I don't know, I just love that y'all are loving this song. Like, music is so crazy because, as y'all know, I had no plans on making music, and then all of a sudden I just became a rapper overnight. And I think y'all are really gonna like my project. Like, I'm putting together a project, and I think y'all are really gonna love it because it has a bunch of different sounds on it. So like, as you can tell, the first one was like, I did the cover of Don't Play With It, so it was like straight rap. This one is a blend of rap and Afro beats. I have reggae songs on there. I have this Fuji song that y'all are gonna love. Like, Fuji is like, it's a Nigerian traditional sound, and y'all are gonna love it. Like, I can't wait for y'all to hear it. If you're not familiar with Fuji, go listen to Ashake's song Fuji Vibe, and you're gonna hear it. It's like, man, like, it's just so fire. And they play Fuji music at the church that I go to, and so for me, it's a very like spiritual thing. But in general, music is spiritual. But yes, it's super spiritual. But like, it's just I don't know, like, I don't know, it's just like, it's the power of music and spirituality together, and then having that like African sound as a part of like the spirituality and Christian thing. Like, it's like, imagine the Holy Ghost with African drums. Like, it's crazy. Anyways, so yes, I can't wait for y'all to hear the project and the content of the project, because I feel like the first two songs have been very similar, of like, you know, you know the vibe. You know the vibes. It's been very like, you know, spend that money as you should. You know what I'm saying? God called men to be providers, so we all should provide. But I have other stuff on there that's not related to anything about relationships. And I think that y'all are gonna like it. Like, I really think that y'all gonna like the variety of the sound and the content of the music. So I'm excited for y'all to hear it. And yes, I'm like coming to y'all because I'm starting this new show called The Becoming. And this show is going to be you all seeing me from ground zero, build everything that I'm working on now. Like, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm working on content, I'm working on music, I'm working on food. Like, I'm getting the food up and running here too. And it's just y'all seeing me from ground zero. And the wild thing about ground zero, like, I'm literally at ground zero. Like, I'm not, that's just not a phrase that I'm using. Like, I'm literally at ground zero, y'all. Like, this beautiful car that you all see me sitting on top of, this is the car that I live in. Like, I went from being housed to unhoused in 3.5 seconds. And you know, I'm not letting this stop me. I'm not letting it stop me. And I'm gonna keep going. And so y'all are going to be able to see that journey from me living in this car to wherever God takes me moving forward. And y'all are gonna see the work that I'm putting in along this path. And yeah, I'm excited. I feel like, so I've been living in the car for like 4 months, maybe 5. And I remember when it first happened, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm gonna be in this situation for 3 months. And I remember, like, when I first got down here, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I want to set up everything financially, and then I'll focus on like my music and stuff like that. And so when I first got down here, like, when I got this car, I can even tell y'all about that story. So like, God has this thing about cars with me, and I feel like it's very similar to like when Jesus' story, when he told them to go get the donkey, and like they was gonna be tied up at this spot and this spot, and like, go get that donkey, and that's the donkey that I'm gonna ride in on. That's how low-key how God be with me with cars. So like years ago, I kept seeing this beige like bug car. This was like maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And I got the car, right? But I was broke then. I was in a somewhat similar situation as far as like, I did not have a job, and I was living off of like credit cards and stuff like that. And so I got this car, and of course, after not so long, I ended up getting a job and was not being responsible with my bills, and the car got repossessed, okay? And I had talked about a repossession I had before, but anyways, so that car got repossessed. But after that, the church that I was going to ended up giving me a Lexus, like an older Lexus car. And when I tell you, like, people talked about that dang on Lexus more than they talked about that beautiful Volkswagen Bug car, convertible, tan. Like, I love that car. But anyways, people talked about that car so much, and or talked about the Lexus that replaced that car so much. And it literally was like, the situation with my car happened. I got the Lexus car right after that, and it was like, so people would always ask me about the car, like, oh, what happened to your car? What happened to your car? And of course, the first thing I would have to tell them is like, it's gone, and the church gave me this car. And so I don't know what God's like. Well, I feel like I do know what God's plan is with that, of saying like, okay, you had that when you ain't got it no more. Now you got to tell people about this car that I gave you. So that was that situation. But anyways, because of that situation, I ended up like hearing like more recently, because I got this car in the fall. So I ended up hearing more recently, like, this was the exact car that I needed to get, an orange Challenger. Now, when I was hearing it, I was also hearing like, and it needs to have a touch of red on it. But because of that situation that I had 10 years ago, I kept saying like, I'm not getting another car. Like, the car that I have works, it rides, and it's not expensive. It's less than $300 a month. My insurance is less than $300 a month. And so altogether, I only pay $500 for my car and my insurance. I'm not getting no expensive car. Like, I was always against getting this expensive car. So when I got this car, I was like, I'm going to do tour with the car, because I'm not just about to be riding around with this expensive car. And obviously there are cars that are more expensive than this one, but nonetheless, it still was going to be higher than my other Volkswagen that I had at the time. But anyways, so I was like, okay, I hear you telling me to get this car. I'm going to go and get the car, and then I'm gonna put it on Turo, because I'm not justifying buying a car that's more expensive than what I already got. So that was my plan with this car. And I remember when I went to go get it, I had signed the papers for it and everything, and the guy opened the car door and he was like, look down at the emblem, and at the emblem was like a red emblem, like a red Dodge sign, which like I'll show y'all, I'll put it in the video somewhere. And as soon as I looked at it, I was like, man, that's the touch of red, right? And so when I got the car, like I had to go down to South Carolina to get the car, then I came back with the car and I put it up on Turo, right? So I came to when I came to Atlanta, I put it up on Turo, and I was like, the story about how all of this happened is like, I came down here, and the first time I came down here, I was staying with somebody that I went to school with, and the stories that I'm gonna tell you about how those situations ended is just like, I don't know. I hear people talk about how people always over spiritualize things, which like everything is spiritual, just like everything is political, but we'll get into that another day. Anyways, is that like, I understand how that comes off to people, but the way that these situations happen is just like, only God could have put this situation together. But anyway, so the first person was somebody from school, and I can kind of also tell, so y'all know that like I haven't had a full-time traditional job since 2023, and that whole situation ended terribly. And I felt like in that phase of my life, God was telling me like, listen, you need to like start your own thing. So I've been building that out since like 2024. But anyways, so in September of last year, I heard God telling me like I needed to come down to Atlanta. I need to get this car. I need to focus on my food business. Like I got like specific directions on what I needed to do. So I came down here for a month in October, and I was staying with a friend from college, and I was there for like 30 days. And when I tell y'all, like, it was fine. Like, we are very different people, and that's okay. But what really bothered her was that I stayed out of 30 days. I stayed out till 4 a.m. one night on a Sunday, and I had let her know, like, you know, I'm going to go out because I want to hear the music that people are listening to in the clubs. So it bothered her basically that I came in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wasn't loud, but the security system or whatever that went off, it just bothered her. And at the time, like I said, I hadn't been working. I had a little bit of money saved up, and I was like, I basically, the whole time that I've been making this transition, I knew how much money I had, and I'm trying to stretch it as much as possible. So I'm like, hey, if I can come down here for a month just to check it out, leave, and then come back in the new year, I'm gonna do that. So then that happened where it was like, okay, I know I'm not gonna be able to come back there when I go back. So then I have family down here too, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna come and stay with y'all. And that, like, I wasn't sure if that was gonna work out, but you know, the end, eventually one of my family members told me that I could come stay with her. So my plan was that I would be there for 3 months, and that during that time I would have the car on Turo, I would be making the food, like, you know, I would be putting myself in a financial situation that in 3 months I'll be able to have proof of income and be able to get my apartment. And of course that did not last 2 weeks. I was like fasting for the first week, and the second week, all HE double hockey sticks fell out, and yeah, like, it was just crazy how the whole situation happened. But basically we fell out about some sugar on top of a refrigerator, and it gets deeper than that, but just to like keep it light, that's essentially what happened. I was asked to leave, and I didn't fight it. And you know, like, when something like that is happening, you could kind of see the writing on the wall before it happened. So that's what really ended up happening, is that I could tell that situation was not going to work out. But again, I had limited finances, so I'm like, and I didn't have proof of income because, again, I just been making it here and there for like the last 3.5 years. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to leave. I don't have anywhere to go, but I'm not gonna stay here, because it just ended up being a situation where it was just like, it just wasn't gonna work. Like, the best way I could put it without going into too much detail is that it wasn't gonna work. So from there, I was forced to go in my car. I was in a hotel for a couple days, and then from there I have been in my car, and it has been such an experience. Like, I never saw myself in this situation ever, which I feel like is like a broken record. I feel like I say that so often, but I never saw myself in this situation. But you know, I was already like in the thick of things as far as my relationship with God. And so a situation like this, of course, just made me lean more heavy in God. I mean, I feel like you could go two ways, right? Of like, I'm going to dig deeper into God, or this God thing ain't working and I'm about to do my own thing. And you know, I have been away from my faith for like 7 years, so I already know what that life looks like, and I'm not going back to that. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have to stick this in with God. And I had some angry days, like for sure had some angry days, because it's like, okay, you told me to come down here, you told me to do this, you told me to do that, you told me to do this, and this is a situation that I've landed in. Like, I was obedient to the things that you told me to do, and this is the situation that I landed in. But God knows all things, because this situation has made my faith so much stronger. And it's like nothing but the grace of God, honestly. And I know, like, unfortunately, that I'm not the only person going through situations like this. Unfortunately, this is more common than we will ever know and we will ever think of. And like, being in this situation, I've been able to see it firsthand. Like, it's so many people in this same situation. Like, it's crazy, because every time I go somewhere, all of a sudden, like, even if I'm the only car there or one of two cars there, as soon as I get there, all of a sudden a whole bunch of other cars end up coming too. And it's just like, damn, we all in the same situation. And also, like, yeah, like, it's so many people going through situations like this, really. But yeah, it's been me, God, and this car. And my faith has just grown so much, because it just gives another meaning to like protection, provision, all of these things. Because like I said, like, I only had a certain amount of money, so I'm like, well, I know I can't go spending it on hotels, or I know I can't go spending it on all of these things, because I had to make it last as long as possible. And then, like, the other thing about it is, like, it's like, okay, even so, after a while, like these last couple months, like definitely the last month, but like it started like 2 months ago, or like a month and a half ago. It was like the little bit of safety net of the little things that I was like using. It's like God started taking those things away too. And it's just like, okay, man, like, it just dug my faith deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, because like, people be like, I'm worried about you out there, or like, are you okay out there, are you safe? Like, when I tell you, I have not had one safety issue since I've been out here, and I know that's only the protection of God. Like, literally the only protection of God. I had one situation where, like I said, wherever I take my car, eventually other people end up coming too. And I had one situation where I felt like people was trying to get close to me to like eventually end up lining me up, but I heard Spirit say, like, you need to move. And once I finally was obedient, because at first, like, I'm like, oh, I'm tripping. So I went back. And then once I finally left, I heard Spirit say, like, they was trying to set you up. So it was like, okay, God has protected me. God has provided for me. Like, I was surviving. So I do Uber Eats. As you all can see, this is a 2-door car, so I can't do like regular Uber or anything like that. So I do Uber Eats, and I have been working for months to, like, in the last 2 months, because honestly, it did take me about 2 months to kind of just like get my grounding. And so after that, I started trying to get my food business going, and it has taken me time to like get a kitchen together, because I can't just wake up and cook. I can't, like, I have to actually find a kitchen. So it took me a minute to find a kitchen. And even that, like, I've still been having to like be patient with that process to actually get it to where we needed to be consistent with that. And so there's that. And then I don't have the income from Turo no more, because obviously I can't let nobody have a car, because I have to be in the car. So I was like going off of food stamps. I was going off of, like, you know, just managing the best that I could. Obviously I ran through my savings, and like with Uber Eats, I literally make enough to eat and buy enough gas to go back out and do the same thing over again, right? And then, like, as some people may know, the food stamps got cut for anybody who didn't have kids or wasn't a senior. So that ended up going out the window. And the gas, like, of course, like within a couple weeks of me coming out here, that's when the Iran war happened, or the attack on Iran happened. and so gas went up. So it was like all of these things. But when I say God has been a provider and God has been faithful, like I have had some slim days. I have had some days where I did have to call back to my grandmother and like just be like, hey, like I need help. But for the most part, like I didn't call home and really say what was going on for like 2 months, because I really was like, I'm going to figure this out. Like I'm going to get myself back on my feet. And unfortunately, that just was not the situation. Like living in your car is way more expensive than I ever thought it was gonna be. So yeah, like I did have to call, but I just never gave up. And like I said, I meet a lot of people in situations like this, and I see like I see a lot of people who don't give up. So let me say that I see a lot of people just like every day making it day by day. And fortunately, I have been able to stay in that space as well. So that's when I ended up like, you know, making sure that I'm following up on the kitchen, getting my food things going. And I can't wait to show y'all. Like I have a label now for my, because I saw a vision before all of this happened. I saw a vision of me having banana pudding inside a jar. So I started making these jars with the banana pudding in them. And so now I have my labels for them and I'm putting those on there. And y'all saw I put the song out, and you know, I kept saying at first when I came down here that I was just gonna wait until I get myself financially established before like I start doing like my music and content stuff again. And it took me 4 months to realize like if the enemy knows that I'm waiting on those things in order to get started, then I'm never going to get started. Like the enemy is just going to do whatever they can do to keep me in this situation so that I never become the person that God has called me to be. So then I was like, okay, I need to just start putting stuff out. And that video, the music video that I put out, I've had that since February. So before this situation even happened, I had that. And I never put it out because again, I was waiting, and I never put it out. But something was like, man, I'm about to just put it out. Like I'm about to just put it out. I felt God calling me to do content about the process that I'm going through right now. And I didn't want to just come back. Like I wanted to come back with a splash. So then I was like, okay, this video will be perfect. And it just ended up lining up with like with Juneteenth, the World Cup going on. Like it just ended up being a perfect like time, and that's why everything is literally God's time, and like everything is God's time. And because I didn't have a plan, but then I was like, okay, this is the time. This is like the backdrop that I want to put it on. Like it's Afro beats, it's like it's black, it's rap, it's Afro beats. Like why not connect it to the World Cup? Why not connect it to Juneteenth? So everything literally just ended up aligning perfectly. And yeah, now I'm being obedient with this and creating this show and being very vulnerable because I had no intentions on telling people like what I've been going through. Like I honestly wanted to have one of those stories of like, yeah, like I was in my car for such and such a month, but we back now. Like, you know, like I wanted to be able to come back when I felt like I was already back on my feet and like at a higher level than even before. And God was like, no, I want people to see you at the bottom. Like I want people to see you at the bottom, and I want them to see you work your way up. So I'm being obedient here. Hello, here I am doing that. And yeah, I don't have a plan for this show. Like other shows, like I feel like I have more of like a vision on what's happening. This, I have absolutely no plan. Like literally the plan is God's plan. Whatever God tell me to do is what I will be doing with this show. But I don't know how often this show is going to be, but I do know that it's going to be, like I said, documenting my process. So I want to try to do it at least like at least weekly, do some type of check-in. And then in between that, I'm going to be doing all of the rest of the stuff that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to be releasing more music. I'm going to be pushing my music out. I can't wait to like get out and perform and like see people in person, vibe to the song. I'm going to be making more music, so y'all will get to see that process. And I have, like I said, I have a good amount of songs, and so I'm working on a project, and I cannot wait to finish this project and put it out. Like I have been working on this project since last fall. And I had the vision for it and everything. And along the way, God has been telling me, like, you know, I want you to do it this way. I want you to have these different sounds on it. And so I've just been obedient to that whole process, and I can't wait to finish it. I cannot wait to have that out into the world. I can't wait to get back to Things Come Together and talk more about the history of soul food. I cannot wait for y'all to see the new show. It's called No, dang, I always mess up the name of this show, y'all. I'm gonna either have to change the name or get it together. But Diaspora Dining Club, that's what it's called. Diaspora Dining Club. So I can't wait for y'all to see the new show, Diaspora Dining Club. And in that show, like, it's about like me traveling and also visiting different restaurants from across the diaspora. And so I love that we have Things Come Together that's strictly about soul food, but then we're gonna be going to other different Black countries and communities to look at their cuisine as well, and still of course make that connection. So I can't wait for y'all to see that too. And yeah, like I was actually launching that show right before things got crazy, because I didn't even talk about this. Okay, so before the housing situation happened, one of the last things I posted was that I was going back to Chicago for the holidays, right? So while within a week of me getting back to Chicago, my uncle passed away. And that situation, if you've been following my content for a while, you know that a huge trigger for me is grief, and particularly grief related to death, but just grief in general. And so my uncle has been sick for a very long time, like 10 years he battled with cancer. I believe only 10 years, but in that time he also had like kidney issues and stuff. So like he had been suffering for a long time. But my uncle is a Capricorn, so like, you know, they don't let no grass grow under their feet. A Capricorn is going to work to the last day that they cannot work no more. So that was my uncle. Like, he just always pushed through. And I remember like when it was around 2023, my uncle had a situation where the doctors was telling him basically like, you get your family together, we don't know if you're gonna make it through this. And at that time I wasn't even really in my faith. Like, I was not in my faith, and I just remember like just believing God that he was going to get better. Like, I just remember God. So then like a year later, oh no, wait, I'm sorry y'all. So I think I had just came back to my faith. I might be mixing them years up, but anyway, I think at that time I wasn't. But eventually, shortly after that, I ended up coming back to my faith. And I used to say a prayer. Like, when I pray, I say the same prayer, unless like it's on my heart to pray about something different. I say the same prayer every time I go before God. It's a consistent prayer. It's nothing like the Lord's Prayer, but I pray it as the Lord's Prayer. Of like, when you pray the Lord's Prayer, you know what the Lord's Prayer is. It doesn't change. That's kind of how my prayer is too. And one of the things that I always say is like, God, there's nothing too powerful for you. Like, we thank you that there's nothing too powerful for you. And one of the first things I would say, I would be like, no cancer is too powerful for you. And when I prayed that prayer, it was always a prayer for my uncle. And I also had a neighbor. So I used to live on the second floor, and I had a neighbor on the first floor that had cancer really bad. And I would always pray for both of them. Like, there's nothing too hard for you, God. There's nothing too hard for you. No cancer. And when I tell you, both of them passed away last year. Both of them passed away in the same year. And it was hard. Like, it was really hard because I just was believing God for their healing. Like, I mean, I was really, really believing God for their healing. And I have this thing where, like, if I see animals, like certain type of animals or just animals in general, or I keep seeing them over and over and over again, I don't take it as a coincidence. I always look it up to say like, hey, what does this mean? What is the symbolism between this? And when I looked, I kept seeing two spiders. Like, one was on my car, which is a common thing. I commonly have a spider, and I guess that's a fall thing as well. But I'll commonly, like every fall, I would have a spider on my car. But this particular year, before they passed away, the fall before they passed away, it was one on my car, and then it was one in front of my door as well. And they kept coming back. Like, I knocked the web down, it kept coming back. And so I kept looking at what's the symbolism. And I've seen spiders before, and I got different symbolism before. Like, spiders can mean creativity, which was one symbolism that I've gotten before. And then they also mean death, which was what was like resonating with me, because I had also been having dreams around that time of somebody close to me, a family member passing away, but not the family member that ended up actually passing. And I remember when I first started having those dreams, I because again, the dream was of someone else. So the spiritual message I ended up getting from those dreams is that there was going to be a passing. The passing was going to trigger feelings that I had from when my father passed. And when my father passed, that was like a pivotal point in my mental health issues. And so when I got that message from the dreams, it freaked me out, because I was like, man, this changed my life. Like, this changed my life. And now you're telling me that there's going to be a death that triggers that same feeling. Like, it was freaking me out. So, yeah, eventually my neighbor was the first person to pass away. And, I just remember, like, cause the walls and the ceiling and the ceiling and the floors were thin enough that I could always hear my neighbors. And so I like to play my music loud, and she would complain, because she was like, she's elder. She was an elder, so she would complain about hearing my music. But this lady would get up every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning and talk to her sister. So I always hear her at 6 o'clock in the morning talking to her sister. And I could always tell when she was in the hospital, because I wouldn't hear her. Okay, so then all of a sudden, I didn't hear her for a long time, and then all of a sudden I heard a voice in her apartment. I was like, oh man, like, she back. And I remember going down to her apartment, and I looked in the apartment and I did not see her. I saw people moving her furniture, and I saw a lady in there, and she started speaking, and I realized that was a voice that I was hearing, and it was her sister that she would always be on the phone with at 6 o'clock in the morning. And she passed. Like, she did not make it. She did not get better. She passed. And I swear to you, even before she passed away, I heard in the spirit that she was gonna pass. And again, she would always complain about my music, but one thing that I do in the mornings, I play my gospel music loud, and I walk around and I pray and I clap, and I just pray and I clap. And so I would always pray and clap for her. Like, I would always intercede for her. And I heard spirit say, like, when she's gone, she's gonna see that you was praying for her. And when she passed away, like, it just, like, I don't know, it didn't mess with my faith, but it did something to me, because I was just really believing for her healing, and unfortunately she didn't make it. So fast forward to the fall, when I went back home, I text my uncle, because before I left, I gave up my apartment because I was hearing God telling me that I needed to move. And I was like, okay, I need to cut my costs. I need to get out of this apartment. So I gave up my apartment. And when I came back to Chicago, I didn't have nowhere to go. So I texted my uncle and I asked him, like, can I stay with him? And he was like, we just moved. It's a lot going on here. Like, he was telling me I couldn't come there. And even before I left and came to Atlanta the first time in the fall, something in my spirit kept telling me to go see my uncle. And I didn't know what it was about, but I was obedient and I went to go see him. And it was like, okay, I gotta go see my uncle before I leave Chicago. And I came back to Chicago, and within a week my uncle was gone. And I didn't get to see him before he passed when I came back, but I got to see him before I left Chicago the first time. And that was the death that triggered the feelings about my dad, because my uncle, he was a very complicated person. My uncle was a very complicated person. Like I say, he's a Capricorn. Or my uncle is a very complicated person. When people pass away, I like to talk about them in the present tense. So he's a very complicated person. But one thing I can say about him is that we all knew that he loved us. He just had a really hard way of expressing it. And so I saw him, he was like he was the eldest male figure of our family. So when he passed away, it was like that father figure passed away again. And that was the death that triggered the feelings of my dad. And I just remember being like, I don't know, like, I remember being shaken up about it. That's what I remember. I'm gonna give me some tissue and I'm gonna come back and talk to y'all. Okay, take these off. Okay, I'm back. So yeah. Yes. The reason why my father's passing was so difficult for me because I did not get to say bye. So I said goodbye to my uncle, which it made it better, but it was the fact that I was believing God for his healing. And so that is what made it difficult. And I just felt like when my uncle, I was believing God for his healing, for his cancer, but also like the heart issues that he had in terms of not like physical heart, but his emotional heart. Because part of why he was so complicated is because he just had he had a soft heart, and that when he smiled, he would light up the room, but he had a hard heart in the fact that he just found it really difficult to have healthy relationships with people. And he was a black man in America. He was born in, I believe, 56. So it was really difficult for him to like have healthy relationships with people. And so I was believing God for that too. I was believing God to allow him to live and to heal, to be able to heal his relationships with his family in particular. And like I said, my uncle had a great heart. He worked in alternative schools. He was a teacher in alternative schools since I was young. And he only did it because of his heart. And he always wanted better for the kids. And he would be so frustrated with them because he just felt like, oh, I want them to be so much better. And he felt like they didn't apply themselves a lot of times. But I mean, unfortunately, that's what happens with kids. When we kids, we don't know. We're navigating a world with adults that know the world way more than we do. And so he would always be frustrated about that. But he never gave up on it. That was his work. That was his life's work. And when he passed away, I just remember like one of the first times I came back and I was praying, and I remember I said that same prayer, like, there's nothing too powerful for God. No cancer, no. And I just remember like the almost like spiritual breakthrough that I had when I said it, because it's like, okay, even though you didn't heal my uncle, I know that you're still able. I know that he did not make it because you're not able to do it. It just, that wasn't his story. And I just remember that being a very pivotal day, a very pivotal moment. But yeah, that happened. And then that happened like 2 days, like a day or two before Thanksgiving. So that was like the end of November. Then in December, I went to go visit my my dad's side of the family. And I knew that my dad had surgery. I didn't know how sick he was until I got there. I didn't tell him I was coming. And when I got there, and I'm glad that he didn't know that I was coming, because I probably would not have seen how bad the situation actually was. And so when I got there, I just had the situation with my uncle. And my trip to go visit my sister and my dad and my whole dad's side of the family, I booked it well before his service. So I ended up not even being able to go to my uncle's service because I was with my other family. And but that day, the day of his service, like I was like, okay, I have to go to the beach. I have to like honor him on that day. So we did. But shortly after that, we went to go surprise my father, and my father is like sick. Like he's really, really sick. And that complicated so much stuff, because it's like, okay, I'm already dealing with, I just lost my uncle. Now I'm looking at my father and I'm just like, what's about to happen to you? And by God's grace, the man is still alive. And I feel like that surprise trip kind of like re-energized him around life. And so he is focusing on his health and getting back to like the work that he was doing as well. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. So I had the situation with my uncle, I had the situation with my dad, and then I came back to Atlanta and became homeless. So I've been going through a lot. It's been a lot going on, but God is still faithful. You know, God is just very faithful. It's no other way to put it. It's no other way to put it, literally. And it's just been so many different verses that God has been walking me through. A few times God has told me to go to the Gospels, like read the Gospels, read Jesus' life, read Jesus' life. And so went through all the Gospels earlier this year, like right before the Easter season, like during Lent, I was reading the Gospels. So then I was like reading Exodus and like the story of Moses, and then I heard God tell me again before I go to Joshua to go back to the Gospels. And I was excited to get to Joshua because I'm like, oh, they about to take the promised land, da, 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 da. And then I heard God tell me go back to the Gospel. So then I'm like, dang, now I got to go back to the Gospels. So I'm reading them, and so much stuff. I mean, it's just so much stuff, so much revelation. But the thing that stuck out to me the most about the Gospels is when Jesus, right before he takes his last breath, he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And I just remember, like, I don't know, something about reading that the first time around really struck me, because I was reading it and then all of a sudden I was like, but Jesus is God. So then it was like, you on the cross, you saying, my God, why have you forsaken me? Like, how are you going to be God and still feel forsaken by God? How are you going to be God and still feel abandoned by God? And it just put so many things in perspective for me to think about that even Jesus, who was God, felt abandoned, but still was like right where he was supposed to be, was right where God called him to be. So I don't know, I've been sitting with a lot of stuff from the Gospels, but that to me is the one where I'm just like, let me sit with this. Let me sit with a difficult moment right in the middle of where God has called you to be. So yeah, that's what's speaking to me. I just feel like so many things about what I've been reading. Like, obviously the book of the story about Joseph with the many coats has been sticking with me as well, because it's like he went through all of this stuff, but it was all in God's will for his life. Like, what can we do? So many different things have been sticking with me. So yeah, I don't know. I'm, like I said, there's no there's no strategy for this show. It's just raw truth, and y'all are going to be able to hear that. I feel like I'm supposed to be vlogging right now, so I'm going to start doing that as well, which I don't really know what that means. And also, like, I enjoy having a private life outside of my content. Like, I do share a lot of stuff on my content, but I do still enjoy having a private life. So, but also this is not my plan, so I'm doing whatever God tells me to do. And obviously that means that y'all be seeing a lot more behind the scenes of things. But yes, this is episode 1 of The Becoming, and we are about to go on a journey together, y'all. We're about to go on a journey, and it's been a very interesting journey so far. So I know that it's about to get even more interesting. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this. And so yeah, you know, put on my clothes, I got dressed today. This has been such a wild experience. Like, it really has. Like, really just keeping my mind in the game. Like, keeping my mind in the game has been the biggest piece of this whole thing. Remembering that God is right next to me. Like, God is with me. God is here. Even thinking about the story of the 3 Hebrew boys, and how there was a 4th person in the fire with them. Like, so many revelations about, like, just biblical stories, and even like family. Like, I remember one time I was praying and God showed me my grandfather's parents, who immigrated from Jamaica to America, and just reaffirming me that, like, you come from a lineage that has made it in a new place under difficult circumstances. And even like my grandmother moving from Arkansas to Chicago, and my father moving from Nigeria to America. So it's like, I come from people who have done what I'm trying to do as well, and they survived, and so that will be my story as well. And just God reminded me that, like, you gonna make it. and you got people on both sides making sure that you're gonna make it, earth side and heaven side, making sure that you're gonna make it. So I'm just excited. Like, I'm excited, and I'm excited to like not allow this situation to stop me from going after the dreams that God deposited in my heart. And because God gave them to me, I know it's going to come to pass. Like, everything that I'm doing right now was in none of the plans that I had for my life. Like, I had no plans on having a food business. I had no plans on having a content media business. I had no plans on any of the stuff that I'm doing, but I trust God, and I just pray and expect that my obedience and God's unwavering faithfulness and the promise over my life will come to pass. So I'm just thankful, and I'm excited for this, and I'm sending a lot of encouragement to anybody that's going through a hard season right now. Like, God will see you through. God will see us through, and you got this. Just don't give up and do your part. That's it. Don't give up. Do your part and acknowledge God. Go before God every day. Go before God every day. Every day. Continue to say your prayers. Continue to be obedient. Continue to do your part. And I swear God is going to show up for you. God is going to show up for us. So I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. I'm going to see y'all in the next episode.